All right, today we are diving into A. Helwa's Secrets of Divine Love. And let me tell you, people say this is way more than just a book. Think of it as a map, a guide for a spiritual journey right into the heart of Islam, all pointing to one true north, this idea of a divine, unconditional love.
The book kicks off with this incredibly powerful line. Just let that sink in for a second. It really sets the stage for everything we're about to explore. This isn't just a nice thought. The book argues it's the very reason for existence, and it's the perfect starting point for our journey today.
So here's our map for this journey. We're going to move through 5 main stages. We'll start with the very foundation, our relationship with the divine. Then we'll look at the guidebook for the path, explore the actual acts of devotion, think about the destination of it all, and finally land on the core message that really ties everything together.
Okay, first things first, the foundation. Before you go on any trip, you gotta know where you're starting from. This whole first part of the book is about understanding the nature of the divine and really our fundamental place within it all.
Right away, the book totally reframes how we might think about God or Allah. Instead of some distant judgmental king on a throne, we're introduced to God as the literal origin of love itself. This is wrapped up in names like Al-Rahman, the Lord of all mercy, and Ar-Rahim, the bestower of special mercy, which means a love that is both huge and universal, but also deeply, deeply personal.
So if God is the ultimate source of love, then what are we? This is where the book brings in the beautiful concept of Fitra. Think of it as our primordial essence, this inherent, divine seed of goodness and purity that's been planted inside every single one of us. So the journey isn't about becoming good, it's about returning to the goodness that you already are.
But of course, that journey back to ourselves isn't always a walk in the park, right? We all face struggles. This amazing quote from Rumi perfectly sets up a story the book uses to explain why those challenges are actually so important. How can we shine if we're never polished?
And this story just illustrates it perfectly. The book tells us about a boy who sees a butterfly struggling to get out of its cocoon. He feels bad for it, so he cuts the cocoon open to help. But when the butterfly comes out, its wings are weak and shriveled, and it can't fly. What he didn't realize was that the struggle to break free was the very thing that pushes fluid into its wings and gives them strength. And that's the key. Our struggles aren't there to break us. They're there to give us our wings.
Okay, so we understand our foundation. Now, every journey needs a guidebook. This next part is all about the tools we're given to navigate the path, the Quran, and the very nature of faith itself.
The book presents the Quran in such a beautiful way. It's not some rigid, dusty rule book. It's a dynamic, living, breathing source of wisdom. It's described as an ocean. You can go to it with a tiny thimble or a giant bucket, and it will fill whatever you bring. It's a revelation that's meant to meet you exactly where you are on your own personal journey.
Now, to explain the different levels or stations of faith, the book uses this incredible analogy of 3 butterflies and a flame. The first butterfly sees the smoke from a distance and says, "Aha, I know there's a fire." That's Islam, an intellectual knowledge. The second butterfly flies closer, feels the heat, and sees the light. That's Iman, a faith born from direct experience. But the third butterfly, it flies right into the flame and becomes one with it. That is Ihsan, the highest station, where that feeling of separation between you and the divine just melts away. So, with our guidebook in hand, it's time to actually start walking the path. This part of the journey is all about action. It's about the practical things we do that turn belief into a real, lived experience.
The first step for many on this path is something called tawbah, which we often translate as repentance. But the book totally reframes this. It's not about guilt or punishment. The word literally just means to return. It's this beautiful idea that no matter how far we wander off course, the path back home to divine love is always, always open to us.
And the walk itself is made up of these core practices. Prayer, or salat, is described as tuning our own personal frequency to the divine frequency. Charity, zakat, is about becoming a channel for God's generosity to flow through. Fasting, or psalm, is about emptying ourselves out so we can be filled with guidance. And the pilgrimage, the Hajj, is the ultimate journey back to the center of our own hearts.
So what's the whole point of all this walking? Where are we trying to get to? This ancient story, retold in the book, starts to explain it. A lover, a spiritual seeker, shows up at the door of the beloved, of God. A voice from inside asks, "Who is there?" And the lover answers with his own sense of self, his ego. "It is I."
And the door stays shut.
It's only after years and years out in the wilderness of spiritual work, of dissolving that attachment to I, that he comes back. He knocks again. The voice asks, "Who is there?" And this time he answers, "It is you." And the door swings wide open. The whole path is about that shift, from I to you, from ego to unity.
And that idea of unity brings us to the final stages of the journey that the book outlines. It's where we start to contemplate the really big mysteries: life, death, our destination, and what might lie beyond. To explore destiny, the book shares this wild story about a man in King Solomon's court who sees the angel of death and is just terrified. He begs the king to magically transport him thousands of miles away to India to escape. Solomon does it. The next day, the angel tells the king he was surprised to see the man in the court because he had an appointment to meet him in India all along. The point is, so often when we run from our destiny, we're actually just running straight towards it.
And what about our ultimate destination? This parable is just brilliant. In both heaven and hell, people are at a huge feast, but they have spoons so long they can't bring the food to their own mouths. In hell, everyone is miserable, angry, and starving. In heaven, everyone is happy and well-fed. Why? Because in heaven, they're using the long spoons to feed each other. The conditions are exactly the same. The only difference is the consciousness. Selfishness versus generosity. We really do create our own reality.
So after this entire journey, through the foundation, the guidebook, the path, and the destination, we arrive right back where we started, but with a totally new understanding. We arrive at the very heart of it all, the core message of unconditional love.
And the first part of that message is so simple but so profound. You matter. The book says to think of existence as a giant cosmic puzzle. Without your unique, specific, irreplaceable piece, the puzzle would literally be incomplete.
The second thing is this: you are already equipped for this journey. You don't have to go looking for something you don't have. Remember that idea of Fitra? Those divine seeds of goodness, connection, and love? They're already planted inside you. The only work is to water them.
And finally, your life has a deep and divine purpose. And as the book frames it, that purpose is to take all that inner goodness and love and reflect it out into the world. It's to become a living, breathing manifestation of those divine qualities. Love, mercy, compassion. You're here to help bring a little piece of heaven down to earth.
Which all leads to this ultimate, breathtaking conclusion. If God is love, and we are created from that love, then our very essence, what we are, is a reflection of God's love. It's not something you have to earn or achieve. It's something you just have to wake up to.
So we'll end with the question that the book really leaves us with. Because this isn't just an abstract idea. It's a practice. If you are a reflection of divine love, where can you see that reflection in your life today? In your thoughts, in your actions, in how you treat people? Where do you see it shining through?